What is up, guys? James here from the Light of Riga YouTube channel, and today we're going to be talking some trimming. That's right, guys, it's time for me to trim a deck, and I wanted to bring you guys in on the experience, because I know when I started trimming decks, I was pretty scared, okay? I didn't want to do it. You just spent $20 to $30 on this brand new deck, and you love the deck, right? But for some reason, in this day and age, still in 2017, tarot deck producers are still putting borders on their cards. I don't understand it. I will never understand it. If I ever put out a tarot deck, there will be no borders. Once you cut off the edges, the pictures, the depictions, they just really pop off the card. And you don't feel like you're looking at a card so much as gazing through a window into another dimension. That might be stretching things a little bit, but that's how I feel anyway. So what I want to do today is trim a deck. I'll show you some previous decks I've trimmed. This one is Druid Craft, and I can't tell you how much better this deck looks trimmed. Oh my goodness. I mean, look at that. Yeah. I mean, look at these cards. They look so much better. I wish I had a card to show you how it looked like before. But it's just, the difference is just amazing. And these cards were so large before. And so I trimmed them down and rounded the edges. And they just... I'm never going to look back, okay? So that's one example of a trim deck. Another example here is the Llywelyn Tarot. And this is another example of the cards just changing their whole character once they've lost their borders. This is one of those decks where the borders were huge. It was huge. They were so huge that they had to go. And yes, I had to cut off the words. So this forced me to memorize what each card is, which is not a big deal. They're pretty clear. But if anything, it gave me an opportunity to get closer to my deck and really understand these cards on an individual basis, so that they become a part of me rather than me just reading off the name at the bottom and saying this is Temperance, So yeah, it was a little bit of a little work that I had to do, but nothing that I would ever take back. So yeah, these cards look so much better without the borders. They're very small now, which is a little bit of an issue for me. I don't like how small they are, but now it's a beautiful travel deck. So consider that when you're trimming. So what I want to do today is take you in on this trimming adventure. And I want to trim the Hobbit Tarot. This is a tarot based on the Hobbit. Who would have thought? And it's a lovely deck. It's got great colors and great images. It's just these white borders aren't doing it for me, guys. They're just not doing it. And I feel like these colors, I know it's a little darker of a deck, but I feel like these colors would just look so much better if they didn't have these ugly white borders surrounding them. So I'm going to take those things off. Now, in order to do a trim job, you're going to need two pieces of equipment. The first is going to be scissors. And a lot of people use a straight edge. I've never actually used one of those. I can't tell you if it's good or bad. I've always just used scissors, and it's been fine. It's been great. And I haven't had any problems just using scissors. Just make sure they're sharpened, because you don't want dull scissors. It's the last thing you need. The other tool you're going to need is a corner rounder. And this is a tool that you can buy at an arts and crafts shop. I paid $10 for it or so, and it's great. It'll once you cut the deck, you're gonna have sharp corners. You want to round those off so they look more like that. Yeah, you see? So they're more of a tarot card feel, rounded corners. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna work on this a little bit and take you through this process. I'll cut a couple for you, so let's see how this looks. All right, I'm gonna make the first cut. So on this card, there's the white border, and then I don't know if you can see. There's this little edge around, like a bamboo thing. I'm going to get rid of that too. I don't necessarily like it. So I'm going to do my best to cut around that. We're going to see how it goes and do a few of these for you. You want to go slow. That is the key to all of this. Take your time. Make the cuts that you want to make. The longer of a stroke you can do with your scissor, the straighter the line is going to be. And you can always err on the side of not cutting enough, because you can always go back. Yeah, it looks like perfect. I did it perfectly. Wonderful. So if you don't cut enough, you can always go back and shave a little bit off. But if you cut too much, then you can't go back, can you? So go slow. A great thing to do is, watch a video while you do this. Light a Ryga video would be nice. Or listen to some music. Just really have some fun with it. Make this an event, right? Because this can get pretty boring after a while. Pretty boring indeed. So you want to make sure your mind is occupied, yet not distracted, because you need to make those straight cuts. And it does take a while. I do admit it takes some time to get these things handled, to get this done. But it is worth it in the end. So the Ten of Swords is going bye-bye. Just like that. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to get to this point. I will be honest with you guys though, but once you trim your deck, it does not shuffle the same. That is something that I will admit. The shuffling, if you do the rifle shuffle, the shuffling's not quite right. It's a little bit wonky, but it's sacrifice you gotta make. Whoa! Hey, Fiskers. Come on now. Alright, now we're gonna round the corners. You see it goes in there. Oh, look at the backs now. Oh, the backs look beautiful. This is what the backs did look like. Now look at them. What a difference. So we're going to round the corners. Yes, you do lose a little bit from the image. But that is a concession that you kind of have to make. Alright, 1 down, 77 to go. Look at that. Now it's just image. Look at that. Right? Hold on. Border gone. Now it's nothing but image. I love it. So I'm going to do the rest of these and we're going to see how this turns out. Yeah. And it is the next day for me. For you, it was instant, but for me, I've been sitting here for quite some time trimming away. I can't say how long this process took me, several hours, and it wasn't all at once. I had to get up and move around. This is not something you can do in one sitting. Okay, this is something that's gonna be a little bit of a project just because it's 78 times. It gets so repetitive. You're in the same sitting position. Your muscles start to ache, and you're just like, I've had enough of this. It taxes your mental acuity or your mental stamina because it's just the same thing, repetitive process over and over and over. But look at the finished project. I have made quite a little bit of a mess here. Okay, this is not even half. I threw away the other half. This is the trash that I've got as a result, and I'm going to be picking up these little things for the next few weeks. It just find their way everywhere. Little shreds, little strands. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it's a mess. I got to clean it up. So yeah, here we go. It is done. what does it look? How does it look to you guys? Better? I think it looks great. I think it was worth all the effort and then some. This deck is now transformed into a beautiful art piece rather than a border-filled mess. Okay, so yeah, I think it looks pretty good. One thing that I decided to do, which I've never done before, and it seems to have worked out well, is I took some fine-grained sandpaper. And you know what happens is when you trim these things, they're not all the same size. Okay, there's going to be variation in every single card. So what I did is I took a fine-grained sandpaper. I just very lightly did something like that, just to even them out a little bit, and that seems to help a little bit. It feels a little bit more natural now. The rifle shuffling is a little bit harder, I will admit, but I can still shuffle like this very easily. You still can rifle shuffle. My arm is actually broken, so I'm gonna not do a great job. But yeah, you can still do it. That's fine. Now that I've sanded the edges, it actually feels like a deck that was cut this way, and it feels very natural. This is a beautiful deck now. The borders have been able to be showcased here, and it's great. For those of you who are feeling kind of scared, if you've never trimmed a deck before and you're wondering if you should do it or not, I say go for it. A lot of people are worried they're going to ruin their deck, but the way I see it is, first of all, you can buy another one. Of course, not everyone's got money to throw away, but if something horrible does happen, there's always the option of getting another deck, unless it's a super rare deck, but in which case, maybe not. But for most of these decks, you can get another one, but it's very difficult to ruin it in this process. Very difficult. As long as you go slow and you mind what you're doing, you're not going to have many problems. And it just takes time. That's all. That's the only real downside to all this. It just takes a lot of time to get this done, but it's worth it in the end. And the way I see it, the way I look at it, if you're still afraid, think of it this way. You're liberating this beautiful artwork from these oppressive borders, right? And the way I was thinking about it as I was doing it is I am freeing this deck, emancipating this deck from its slavery, breaking its shackles. Like Khaleesi, I'm the whatever she calls herself, but you know what I mean. I'm freeing this deck, and now it's free. It's free to do its own thing, and it's free to give beautiful readings without the encumbrances of these white borders that are just so oppressive. So I recommend trimming your deck. If you feel inclined to do so, don't be afraid. Just do it, and you will love your deck afterwards. So if you have any questions, put it in the comment section. I'd love to answer any questions you might have about this process, and we couldn't get into that. Look who's next on the chopping block. The Druid Animal Oracle. These things are meant for giants. Look at this thing. It's huge. So not only am I going to get rid of this white border, I'm also going to get rid of this. It's nice, but I just want to have the space. I just want this deck to be smaller. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of the borders here. So you are next on the chopping block, my friend. No one is safe. Okay, all right. So yes, please leave a comment in the comment section below if you have any questions. You want to say anything about this trimming process. Please leave a like if you got something out of this video. Lets me know that you enjoyed it, and also subscribe for more of these videos. I release them regularly. Okay, guys, I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me on this trimming adventure. My Hobbit tarot is looking fine. Druid Animal Oracle will look fine soon, and I'm excited. It's like getting a brand new deck. It really is. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. Leave a like if you enjoyed this. Happy taroting. Peace.